You got 1 minute. I can show you real quick on the way by?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Yeah, get Deuteronomy 28 real quick, right? Are you familiar with the Bible at all?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. So you believe in it, you believe the words in it.
Yep.
You understand that it's also a book of prophecy, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So in the book of Deuteronomy, these are the books of Moses. Are you familiar with that?
Yep.
Okay. And he gave them the blessings and the cursings once they came out of Egypt. Familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is, start at verse 20, verse 15 real quick.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So in this part right here, it says, if you won't hearken or hear or listen to the voice of the Lord thy God, right? It says, thy God. Who is Moses speaking to? Do you know?
No.
Okay. Let's get the context. The context is important in the Bible. Always important in the Bible, the context. All right? So let's get the first chapter and first verse of this book to find out who Moses is speaking to. Read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Unto who?
Unto all Israel.
So he's talking to the children of Israel. All right, now go back to verse 15 of chapter 28. Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So if you don't listen, right, we just skip to the middle of it for time's sake.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's fine.
The first 14 verses said, if you listen, you'll do great.
Yep.
If you don't listen, read.
To observe, to do all his commandments,
Come on.
and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake
It
thee.
says shall come upon you. You know what the word shall means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
I mean, it will happen. Like, there's no...
Will, which is future. In the future. So not now. In the future.
Yep.
So what we're going to read now is just one of them. And we can back and forward. But read one of them that was supposed to happen in the future that we know came to pass. And we just talked about that. Read.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So you see the word Egypt there, right? That says that should be an indicator of a few things. One, we're not Egyptian, because he's saying, I'm going to bring you back into Egypt again, right? But the Bible is written in metaphor and similitude. So that word Egypt has a meaning, and we're going to let the Bible explain itself rather than me tell you what it means. All right, read that.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2.
Come on.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
Out of the land of Egypt. Come on.
Out of the house of bondage.
Out of the what?
House of bondage.
So Egypt is synonymous with house of bondage. That's literally what the word Mizraim or Egypt means. It's bondage. So go back now to Deuteronomy 28:68.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt,
Or the house of bondage. Read.
again,
come on.
with ships.
How?
With ships.
So the Bible prophesied what shall happen in the future to the children of Israel, that they would go into bondage by way of ship. Did that not happen in history?
It did.
It did, right? Now, can we say historically, has that happened to any other race of people? Not individuals, but races of people. Nope.
Just us.
Just us. So we're both reading out of a book that you and I say we believe, and it just identifies something very specific to our culture, our history that no one else can relate to.
That's right.
Right? Read.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more
And
again.
it says that you'll never see your homeland again, right? And it happened exactly, it's going to happen exactly as I'm telling you it's going to happen. Don't forget, this is written thousands of years ago. And it happened in the 1600s, in the 1400s, and then on through the 1600s. Go ahead, read.
And there
Once you get off those slave ships, read.
ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
You shall be what?
Sold unto your enemies.
The Bible said we will be sold unto our enemies. Now that's what God said. You know what we have a tough problem with today? Is identifying what God said who our enemies are in the Bible.
Yeah.
Because if we know that it's talking about us specifically, who would be the enemies? Who were we bought and sold to?
Well, I know. I know who we bought and sold to.
Who?
It was white people.
It was white people.
Yeah.
But what did the Bible call them? What did God call them? Enemies. But you see how that's hard for us to even say. It took you a second to even say it. Right? And that's because of society and assimilation and not understanding really what unity is being talked about even by Martin Luther King. Because remember, at the end of his days of teaching and his preaching, he said, I fear that I brought my people into a burning house. All right, these are things that are forgotten about Martin Luther King. They only remember the I have a dream part, and they forget in the end that he said, I fear that I brought my people into a burning house. Right? Go ahead, read.
Sold unto your enemies.
You should be sold unto your enemies. Come on.
For bondmen.
Come on.
And bondwomen.
So my question to you then is, Moses was talking to the children of Israel, and he identified historically something that shall happen in the future that we both said happened to us. That would mean that Moses was talking to our ancestors during this time, which means we're not black, we're not Negro, we're not African American. What is our God-given nationality?
Now that I don't know, man.
Okay, go back to Deuteronomy 1:1. Remember the context of who Moses is speaking to, which is our ancestors. Because in the Bible, they're not going to be called African American. There's no such thing during this time, right? They're not going to be called Negro. There's no such thing at this time, right? What was their name during this time? Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Watch this.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Unto who?
Unto
Israel.
all Israel.
So what is our God-given nationality?
So Israel.
We're Israelites. We're the Hebrews of the Bible. That's our God-given nationality. Not one that's been given to us or created. Because notice, our nationality changes every decade.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Sometimes we black, Negro.
Right. Why is that? Why is that? Right? I'm going to show you why that is. Get verse 37. You got any questions, brother?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay, good.
But I do have to go, though.
No problem. This is the last one. I'm going to share this with you. Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 37.
Watch this.
And thou shalt become an astonishment,
Come on.
a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead.
You know what a byword is?
I understand it a little bit.
Okay, a byword is being identified as something that's not the true name of it. Right? So I might say, I might call this a whip. I might call it my ride. I might call it not a vehicle or a Suburban or a SUV. I'm going to call it by another name, right? A nickname, so to speak, right? God says that his people would be identified by nicknames. And that's why every decade we have a new nickname. But God said it would happen. He already prophesied it would happen thousands of years ago. But our original name was Israelites. That's our original name. So you have the flyer. I know you said you have to go. But it's important to really look into it because we're about reestablishing our identity and reestablishing our unity in that identity. But you have to learn the things that have been taken from us because you said you believed in the Bible.
Yep.
You said you were familiar with it.
I am.
But I bet you didn't know that we are the children of Israel until right now.
Nope, I did not.
Right? So think about all the decades you've read and believed in this book, not knowing it was about you the whole time. That's interesting, right?
It is, yeah.
So that's the importance of coming back and being retaught who we are in the book so that we can come back to our true nationality and heritage. That process is called repentance. Right?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation